Alright, so I wasn't gonna make this video, but I just have too much to talk about here. Right now I'm just incredibly confused and I don't get Halsey at all. Like, I don't mean to be starting another gossip train or be like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening, conspiracies, yada yada, because obviously I'm a terrible person when it comes to that, and I've already had to apologize for it, but, I don't get Halsey. Like, honestly, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but, like, she says she isn't a pop star, but she's a pop star, I think? Honestly, all of her hits up until now, I'm talking about Now or Never, Closer, Without Me, Bad at Love, we're all pretty much in the pop lane, I'm not gonna deny that, but I don't know, Nightmare is weird. I'm not saying it's a good song per se, but like, I mean, I'll give it points for being experimental, I guess, like, it's weirdly experimental, and I mean, Halsey always says she's experimental and not pop, but that's why I'm confused. Okay, so yesterday, Halsey posted pictures of Damon Albarn on her story, just random pictures of young, Blur era Damon Albarn, just absolutely random pictures. Does she have a crush on him? I mean, I get it, I mean, he's incredibly attractive, but like, especially back then, but like, how are you even aware of his existence? Like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but most pop singers, I'm gonna ask Taylor Swift who Damon Albarn is, and she's gonna look at me like, is that a brand of food? Like, it's just, like, it just seems weird to me that she would even be aware of his existence. She doesn't have the artistic integrity to even know what's going on. Or so I thought. Anyway, I know that's a weird claim to make. Does she have a crush on him? But that's the only logical explanation I can come up with for why she's randomly posting pictures of his 90s self on her Instagram feed. Now, it gets weirder. Let's take a look at the possibility of them collaborating. I'm not saying this is going to happen, it probably isn't, but I mean, given that we had a Lady Gaga song featuring Bradley Cooper that hit #1 this year, I'm not exactly surprised if it did happen. You know what? I still would be, though, because okay, here's the problem. Damon has too much artistic integrity, and Halsey doesn't have enough. I know it sounds weird, right? You can have too much artistic integrity, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know, he's so... Okay, remember Kanye West? I know this is a comparison that nobody wants to make, but, you know, Kanye West was always locked up in his own head and moody and weird. At least Damon's politics make a lot more sense than Kanye West. I'm sorry about that, but, the point is, sometimes you have those artists who just can't understand us youngins. And yeah, Damon Albarn does not understand social media. And in my opinion, that's not exactly a positive thing. Now, I'm not saying his points are completely invalid. I agree that social media is a terrible double-edged sword, and there's a lot of negatives out there, and it can be especially toxic for teenage girls, of which he had one at the time. But at the same time, he could at least try to understand it. I mean, his fellow Gorillaz guy, Jamie Hewlett, at least understands how Instagram works, I think. I'm kidding ever so slightly, but God, his comment sections are weird. But that's not the point. This is not about Jamie Hewlett. Thank God it isn't, because last time I made a video... Okay, let's not even go there. I'm not saying Damon has to be on social media or understand it. I completely understand if it's healthy for some people to not be on social media, but he's kind of one of those people who just feels like, oh, I don't get them kids. Like, you know, he's weirdly progressive considering his stance of I don't get them kids. Usually when I hear someone in their 50s say I don't get them kids, I think of like a conservative beer-drinking dad guy at a grill in Texas. I got the horses in the back. Okay, but you get my point here. He's weirdly progressive politically. Again, I'm not trying to get into politics here, but it just feels odd. I completely understand where his political stances are coming from, but at the same time, he doesn't seem to get younger people. Younger people are mostly Bernie Sanders demographic, for the record. I'm not saying Damon Albarn is like buddies of Bernie Sanders or anything. I'm just saying those types of politics tend to be more popular with young people. Now, again, I totally get where he's coming from and agree with a lot of what he said, but I'm just... If I say he has too much artistic integrity, I mean, he can't understand pop music and he immediately thinks... He's one of those people, and I hate these types of people on Twitter. Not saying I hate Damon, I'm a huge fan of him. But, well, he's one of those people who's going to be like, pop music sucks. Like, those types of people who say that, they're killjoys. Okay. Feel Good Inc. I love Feel Good Inc. But I have one major problem with it. Okay, let's try to explain this. Remember when Lorde made Royals and she was, like, making fun of everyone for having club party songs? And every song's like, okay, you get my point. It felt fresh at the time because every song was like that, and, you know, she's just being whatever, and I get that, but Lorde comes across as kind of a killjoy. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but honestly, she's in the same vein as Halsey, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying Halsey's nearly as good musically, but Halsey has the same kind of counterculture, new Americana vibe about her. Which, okay, she's cold. She's distant from the pop world. She thinks good time party music is stupid. I get that. In 2005, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Shakira, they were the biggest pop stars in the world, and Feel Good Inc. Look, I like to think of it as a song that is making fun of the vapidness of media coverage and the way pop stars present themselves, and not so much the music itself, but it's back to one of those things. Is there something so bad about mindless party music? Like, you're trying to say that mindless party music makes us all into zombies. Oh, shit. Party rockers in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Okay, now, obviously, if all you listen to is mindless party music, yes, I agree. Overexposure to mindless party music at the time, and even in, 2011 or so, they had a point. I'm saying if that's the only thing you listen to, for instance, if you only listen to Seven Rings by Ariana Grande, I know because I went through this shit, then you become vapid and not grateful and all that shit. I get it. Okay, getting back to the point, Damon Albarn feels like Lorde in the same vein of telling us not to party, except he never says it directly, but it just comes off that way. I guess he's saying the you know, glorified sexuality of the media is kind of stupid, and I agree with that as an asexual person who's fucking sick of everyone talking about sex all the time. Okay, gets the point, but I get the whole, oh my god, red light district, oh my god, Murdoch is so good, okay, I get it. Weird blend of Damon Albarn's weird aversion to sexuality and Jamie Hewlett's, well, whatever that is. Speaking of Halsey. I'm just... Why are all her videos, like... Okay. Halsey's trying way too hard, and not hard enough at the same time. Again, all of her songs are very pop, but... Oh, this is a post-apocalyptic wasteland, bitch. Yeah. Okay, Halsey. I'm not saying pop stars haven't pulled it off, but she's such a tryhard. Now... When I say she doesn't have enough artistic integrity, she's not smart enough to avoid things like putting Juice WRLD on a song. How on earth would she have the integrity to collaborate with Damon Albarn? Again, this is all hypothetical, if they did collaborate. I don't see Damon Albarn stooping as low as to having a guest verse on a Halsey single, but what else would make sense at this point? Because... well, I don't think there's a new Gorillaz album coming for a couple years, and that's the only time he's had bizarre collaborations that have weirdly worked. David Albarn and Grace Jones? Sure. David Albarn and Snoop Dogg? Why not? David Albarn and Nina Cherry? Okay, you get the point. But, I mean, Nina Cherry's daughter is popular now. Let's make that a thing. Alright, no, I'm being serious here. If they were to collaborate, Damon wouldn't do that. I know people like Kendrick Lamar, who should know way better, have done terrible guest verses, but Damon isn't like that at all. He hates the record industry, or at least claims to. The way it comes across, I hate record industry works of it. I don't know how I feel about him. I do like him a lot, but sometimes I just have problems with it. I still think he's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but I'm just confused. Anyway, Damon Albarn makes me feel dumb. His intelligence is so far above my level of intelligence that I can't understand. And I don't get it. And I feel like he knows way too much, and he's way too much of an intellectual, which is part of the reason I respect him so much. I'm getting off topic. Going back to Halsey, the only logical thing other than Halsey being a guest vocalist on a Gorillaz song, unless that Damon Albarn and Flume collaboration ever happens and they need a female vocalist, the only other logical explanation I can come with is Damon Albarn producing her album or something. Which sounds absolutely ludicrous, right? But she's trying to convince the world she isn't a pop star, and I would have said a few months ago that, yeah, she's totally a pop star and trying to embrace that image of all of her subsequent singles. But guess what? Nightmare happened. And Nightmare is not a pop song. It kind of is, parts of it, but she's playing really edgy. You've got the guitars, it's almost a rock song in a way. And I'm not exactly saying that Damon Albarn was ever rock, except for, you know, Song 2 and some of that stuff in there. That was more attributed to Graham Coxon's guitar skills, but you get my point. If he produced her album, I mean, damn, she could use some good producers, and before you're like, what do you mean he doesn't produce? He produced the entire Plastic Beach album with Gorillaz. He can produce albums. Why? That's my real question. Why the hell would he produce a pop starlet's album? Again, this is all 100% speculation at this point, and probably nothing's going to come of this, but it's weird to think about nonetheless. Remember when he and Adele almost collaborated? Well, that didn't work out, thankfully, and I love Adele for the record, but their sound is, no, absolutely not, but Halsey? I can kind of see similar sentiments in her music to some of Gorillaz stuff. I wouldn't put it past her to at least listen to Gorillaz or be a fan of them. Now, Blur, on the other hand, I just don't see the crossover appeal. I have enjoyed them in the past, but it's incredibly dated and prevalent to the time and place it was made. Halsey didn't grow up in England in the 1990s. She doesn't know what country house is. Like, I'm just saying. It doesn't make sense. Why should she be posting pictures of Blur and Damon? Unless it's this awful one-sided crush that an immature, artistically muddled entertainer has on someone who is way out of her league. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe or hate me and yell comments down below. Bye.